It is not fair to ask of others what you are not willing to do yourself. Eleanor Roosevelt. If you ask any American to name 5 First Ladies, inevitably, Eleanor Roosevelt will be on their list. Eleanor Roosevelt was not known for her beauty or her fashion sense, but rather for her strength and accomplishments and wisdom. According to PBS.org, she was born in New York City on October 11, 1884, into the prominent Roosevelt family. And although she was raised with wealth and privilege, according to the FDR Library and Museum, she had a difficult childhood. She lost both her parents and a brother. Eleanor would describe herself as a child as insecure and starved for affection. She was educated privately and at a series of schools across Europe. She was greatly influenced by Marie Sylvester, who ran the Allenswood Girls' Academy in England. Marie was an early feminist that had a significant impact on the woman Eleanor would become. Marie encouraged her to believe in herself and to believe she could accomplish great things. This would eventually lead to her becoming active in the social reform movement of the Progressive Era. According to FirstLady.org, Eleanor married her distant cousin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in March of 1905. And according to HistoryNet.com, they would go on to have 6 children, 5 boys and 1 girl. Eleanor felt that she was not very maternal. There were also difficulties in her marriage. Eleanor had an overbearing mother-in-law, and Franklin was unfaithful. The marriage became more of a partnership, which led to Eleanor throwing herself into her work. And according to WhiteHouse.gov, when her husband became president in 1933, she transformed the roles of First Lady forever. She was the first presidential wife to express her own opinions and became a force to be reckoned with. She was independent and active in public and political life. She took advantage of her position to encourage Roosevelt's administration to appoint women to meaningful positions in the New Deal programs. And Mrs. Roosevelt would travel all over the United States to observe and be aware of the working and living conditions that the citizens of the nation were in, and she would be able to report what she saw back to the White House administration to help change the country for the better. She not only was active in politics, but she was a writer and contributed articles to magazines and hosted her own radio show. According to American Radio Works, Eleanor made somewhere around 300 appearances. This is around the same amount as her husband made, and remember he had the fireside chats during World War II. This career decision was the first of its kind for a woman in her position. Traditionally, the First Lady didn't go out and work and didn't go out and express her own opinions, and Eleanor was the first to set this example that they should be active and care about the welfare of the nation. But this, of course, was not accepted by everyone because this was something new. No First Lady had done this before. But those that supported her applauded her for helping and unifying the United States as they struggled through the Great Depression and as they went on to fight through World War II. She was able to bring the American people this sense of closeness to the White House and the first family that previously had been absent. They now felt connected and had a deeper concern with what was going on in the nation. Her radio shows helped to get the word out about Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal programs. She used her popularity to fight back against the critics of her husband and his programs and the decisions he made. Her career in radio also gave women the chance to expand their careers and go on beyond what had previously been acceptable for women to do. She gave them the chance to work as broadcasters and politicians. And later on in her radio programs, Eleanor Roosevelt would have people come on air and discuss contemporary issues such as the peace movement, unemployment among youth, and the characteristics of life along the campaign trail, which is another way that she was able to connect with the American people that previously had not been there. And Eleanor was also active in dozens of clubs and organizations, including the Women's City Club, National Consumers League, the Women's Division of the Democratic State Committee, the New York chapter of the League of Women's Voters, the Women's Trade Union League, and she would go on to become the vice president and finance chairman of the Democratic Women's Committee and established many non-for-profit organizations. As First Lady, she helped to expand the roles for women past what had previously been accepted and showed that they were able to achieve more in American society than what had previously been believed. In 1921, Franklin D. Roosevelt was diagnosed with polio, and after her husband's diagnosis of polio, Eleanor worked for 3 years to look for a cure and therapies, anything to help him. And she continued to encourage FDR to stay in politics and stay active even after he lost the use of his legs. And one of FDR's doctors commented on Eleanor's handling of her husband's situation and his condition, saying that you've been a rare wife and have borne your heavy burden most bravely. You are one of my heroes. Historian Blanche W. Cook stated, Eleanor Roosevelt set a new path, new goals, a new understanding of what was possible and acceptable for women to achieve. And even now, all these years later, we're seeing Eleanor's impact on society for women. It's still relevant and meaningful. She was one of the first and most accomplished women to step away from the conventional path other than the motherly and wifely duties and have a career for herself and show that women are capable of greatness.